we're going to talk about creating different types of indexes and more specifically, like I said, compound indexes. So a compound index is an index on more than one field. So we've been adding indexes on one field, like unique true on first name, unique true on email. Now we're going to add indexes on a combination of fields, which is very, very, very useful. So for instance, if I have a school here as part of a, let's say it's part of a district, right? Schools are part of districts. And let's say a district is a type of, it's an ID type. So Mongoose schema.types.object ID and ref. We don't have anything called district, but imagine we had a model called district. It's not that important for this example. But if we had one, it would reference that district, okay? But, oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought that looked weird. I was like, there's like something wrong. It's kind of weird to have two schools in the same district with the same name. It's kind of weird. But it's totally fine to have two schools in different districts with the same names. They might be in different states. So that seems feasible. So we want our names to be unique. So if I just came in here and said, okay, type, string for name, and then I put unique, that would not be good because now you can never have two schools with the same name, even though they're in different districts. That's not what you want. Like you might have this school in New York who has the same name as a school in Atlanta, and they should basically have the same name. But if they're in the same district or county, they shouldn't. So how do you scope that? And this is where compound indexes come in. So without compound indexes, again, you'd have to do this yourself inside of middleware. So we're going to use a compound index for this. So what we want to do is we want to make name unique, but scoped to a district. So the way we would do that is we would use our schema object for school. So we'll say school.index. And here, index is going to take an object because we're doing a compound index. And basically, it's just going to take a property name that you want to index, and then it's going to take like a value. It's going to be a number. And I'm going to tell you what this number does in a minute. But basically, the first thing we want to index is the district. So district 1. And again, I'm going to tell you what that 1 means in a minute. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to index the name. And we'll also put 1. And then as a second argument, what we're going to do is we're going to say unique true. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about all this. What's happening here is obviously these field names correspond to the field names on the school schema. So I want to index those. The 1 value just means it's basically telling Mongo like what order to, because it's a compound index. So you have, every time you set an index, you're going to be reducing the size of the query that has to happen. So we have to tell Mongo what to index first. So right now we want to index the district 1 first and then the name. But the crazy thing is that in JavaScript, there's no such thing as like order in objects because you just can't keep track of order. So this number is supposed to do that. But in fact, what actually ended up happening was that you can keep track of order in JavaScript. And once they figured that out in like a V8 node environment, they're able to determine that you declare district first and then name second, because it's the way that I wrote them. If I switched it, it'll be opposite. So what they're doing is they're going to create a compound index where this is the first half of the index, this is the second half of the index. It's very complicated. But the reason why this is important is because I need the name to exist underneath the district. If I put the name first, that's not really going to help me. Now I still have unique names, and then now the districts are there for some reason. It doesn't really help me, but I want to say your names have to be unique for a district. So they're not unique by themselves globally. They're only unique underneath a district. So basically, the short answer is always put 1. You can put -1, just don't do that. Just put 1. I think they're working on this, so just put 1. And I don't want to talk about like cardinality and like how to figure out which ones go first, but in reality, it's such a complicated topic. You really just want to index by like the one that has like the highest potential of change, right? Like which value can have, which one of these fields might have the highest difference of values? Like is district going to have more chance of different values, or is name going to have a different chance of different values? We're seeing how name might be conflicting. I would say districts might have a chance of having more different values. There's an option there where districts might have way more cardinality than names. Okay, that's very complicated. Basically, yeah, you just want to scope the big ones first, and then the little ones underneath it. And that's how you do a compound index. This is the same thing. So like, for instance, if we wanted to index just a name, remember we put index, we put unique true right here. We will put unique true right here. You don't have to do that. You can just say, you can just do this. It's the same thing. In fact, I always write my indexes like this. I don't put them up here because it's like, I like to just see them all in one place. So I'll just do schema.index and write my indexes down here. So this is a compound index. So this is an index with 2 fields. So now if I try to save a school in the same district with the same name, it'll fail. It'll be like, oh, no, those got to be unique.